立法會主席。
The President. Please call for quorum.
發言。
Addresses. Mr. Andrew Leung will address the Council on the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region Independent Commission Against Corruption Annual Report 2013. Mr. Andrew Leung. President, as a member of the Advisory Committee on Corruption, I am presenting the annual report of the ICAC on behalf of the ICAC to this Council. In the past year, the ICAC continued to adopt a three-pronged approach of law enforcement, prevention, and community education to fulfill its statutory functions of fighting against corruption and promoting integrity. ICAC is also actively enhanced its governance, it's used its actual achievements to win over the trust and support of the public. Apart from election-related complaints, the ICAC received a total of 2,652 complaints last year, a drop of 33% compared to the previous years. There are various reasons for the drop in the corruption complaint figures drop. Perhaps the ICAC and the Home Affairs Department have worked together to enhance public awareness in relation to building management. That's why the overall complaint in relation to property managers dropped by 36%, and it accounts for 29% of the total drop. The 2013 survey, annual survey of the ICAC, shows that 80% of those interviewed are willing to report complaints. On a scale of 0 to 10, on the level of tolerance of corruption, public tolerance is almost 0. The score is 0.8. As for individual coming across corruption, such cases have also dropped substantially from the previous years of 1.8% to 1.1% in terms of percentage. And the overall corruption figures have dropped. The ICAC believes it has to do with effective control over such cases. In terms of sector, government departments accounted for 808 of the complaint cases, 30% of the total. But then there are no signs of syndicated corruption being revived among the civil service. As for complaint cases against public organizations, 195 cases, 8% of the total. It's the same as the previous year. The prosecution figure remains at a low level for this sector. As for private sector, there are 1,649 complaint cases, 62% of the total, a drop of 34% compared to the previous year. Although there's a drop in complaint cases, the ICAC will continue to take necessary anti-corruption measures to ensure a clean business environment for Hong Kong, which is also open and fair. The ICAC has received a total of 559 cases of complaint in relation to the Election Corrupt and Illegal Practices Ordinance, drop of 77% compared to the previous year. Because the last election cycle was completed in September 2012, so this drop in figure is only a matter of course. On corruption prevention, the ICAC has completed 68 review reports for government departments, public organizations, government-funded organizations, and other organizations. The review covers an extensive range. It covers public procurements, outsourcing of services, government subvention schemes, and licensing systems, and so on. And also on public concern and public safety, and also areas where there's some substantial use of public funds. The ICAC has conducted in-depth research. It covers the construction of public housing, food bank, Chinese medicine practitioners practice, and operation of Chinese medicine clinics, and government's financial assistance to fishermen for those who are affected by the ban of trawling in the Hong Kong waters. The ICAC continues to disseminate a message of anti-corruption to various sectors through various means. For instance, it's worked with banks to come up with an ethics guide for the banking sector. This is to enhance the integrity management and anti-corruption measures for the banking sector. It's also a step up its publicity on the practical guide on building repair, and it's encouraged stakeholders to make the most of this guide to reduce the risk of corruption. On anti-corruption education, the ICAC continues to work with different sectors to promote the message. For instance, it's helped government departments to deal with management of conflict of interest and also integrity training strategy. With some tertiary institutions and youth groups, the ICAC has collaborated with them on the iRelay Youth Integrity Youth Integrity Project, the I-Teen Leadership Program, and also the Youth Integrity Microfilm Project, is to inculcate positive values to young people. And with other sectors and other various forms of media, the ICAC is also trying to promote the clean culture for Hong Kong. Last year, at the end of last year, the ICAC launched this publicity campaign on building a clean future for our next generation. In the past year, the ICAC continues to work with various overseas organizations to promote exchanges and promotion of anti-corruption work. It's worked with relevant American government organizations, the World Bank, the World Justice Project, and the UN Global Contract Project. The ICAC explained the latest work in Hong Kong to these organizations, also held conferences and exchange activities with other Asia-Pacific countries. The Center of Anti-Corruption Studies is also a platform for academic exchanges between Hong Kong and international and mainland academic institutions. The ICAC attaches great importance to grooming talent. It wants to bring in new blood. So last year, the ICAC attended the Career Expo. It's also held a series of employment talks at the 8 local tertiary institutes. Through various internal training courses, the ICAC has arranged for ICAC officers to attend management courses conducted by local and overseas institutions. On behalf of the Commissioner of ICAC, I would like to thank all the members of the Advisory Committee and Commission for their invaluable contribution. He would also like to thank this Council and the public for their support of the work of the ICAC. The ICAC fully appreciates that high expectation among the public for ICAC. The ICAC will continue to work in the most professional manner, and it will continue to be fair and impartial in defending the very core value of Hong Kong, that is integrity. Thank you.
規程問題。
Call for quorum, President.
到啦，係咩？林健鋒議員就廉政
Mr. Jeffrey Lam will address the Council on the Independent Commission Against Corruption Complaints Committee Annual Report 2013. Mr. Jeffrey Lam, President, as Chairman of the ICAC Complaints Commission, I would like to submit to this Council the ICAC Complaints Committee Annual Report 2013. The report sets out briefly the work of the committee in the past year. The main duties of the committee is to monitor the handling of non-criminal complaints against ICAC and its officers. The committee will also make improvement recommendations in respect of any work procedure of the ICAC that might give rise to complaints. When the ICAC receives a complaint, it will be first of all, assessed by the Internal Investigation and Monitoring Unit. If it's considered that a case is groundless and no full investigation is to be conducted, then the reasons and an assessment report should be submitted to the committee. As for complaints that can be followed up, the Internal Investigation and Monitoring Unit will, after completion of the investigation, submit an investigation report to the committee and to explain the findings of the investigation. The committee will, after receiving an investigation report or an assessment report, examine the report in a meeting. If necessary, the ICAC will be asked to submit supplementary information before a conclusion is made on the complaint. The complainant will be informed of the conclusion made by the committee in writing. In 2013, the committee held 3 meetings and examined 31 complaint cases, including 21 investigation reports and 10 assessment reports. And of the 21 investigation reports into complaints of 60 allegations, 5 or 12 allegations were found to be substantiated or partially substantiated, involving matters such as improper use of a social network service by ICAC officers or the failure to specify the items seized in the evidence seizure form. The ICAC has, in respect of these substantiated or partially substantiated allegations, given the verbal or written warning and suitable instructions to the officers concerned. In examining the complaints, the committee also examined the internal procedure guidance and practice of the ICAC to see if they should be improved or revised. In respect of the matters covered by the investigation reports in 2013, the ICAC has tightened their requirements in respect of office security, protection of official information, and the use of social networks. And training has also been stepped up to heighten the alertness of their officers. Moreover, the ICAC has also provided additional guidance to ICAC officers on the use of the evidence seizure form. Through the publication of a report, the committee report increases transparency and accountability of its operation to the public. If members have any views about the report, please let the Secretariat know. we thank the members and the public for their support of our work. Thank you. Mr. Ma Fung-kwok will address the Council on the report of the panel on Home Affairs 2013-14. Mr. Ma Fung-kwok, President, as Chairman of the Home Affairs Panel, I would like to report the work of the Home Affairs Panel in 2013-14. During this session, the HAB held 11 meetings. Before this meeting adjourned for the summer break, we are going to have another regular meeting. The work of the panel has been set out in detail in the report, and here I would like to highlight some of the important matters dealt with by the panel. The panel had a discussion on remuneration allowance for district council members. Panel members generally support the increase of 34% of the accountable operating expenses for reimbursement for district council members. Some members have pointed out that the higher rental demanded by private buildings, premises have led to the deficit in meeting all the expenses. And some are saying that the administration should look into the long service payment or severance payment of staff of the ward offices. Some members have asked the government to look into this in the next round of review. On arts and culture, the panel noted that we have come up with the first intangible cultural heritage inventory, and members are concerned whether there will be special or dedicated funding for the protection of our heritage, and there should be, according to some panel members, priority set on different items in the inventory. The panel also discussed the artistic autonomy of performing groups. Some members agree that we should not interfere, the government should not interfere with the executive decision or the artistic development of arts groups. But in respect of the 9 major performing arts groups surrendered by the government, there should be rules to make sure that public money is spent properly, and they should the advice to come up with internal guidelines for self-regulation. But the administration's position is that the matter should be left to individual performing groups. On the question of regulating street performance, members expressed diverse views on whether a licensing system should be introduced. Sports development is also a major area of concern to the panel. The panel was given a briefing on the development and progress of the Kai-Tak multi-purpose sports complex. Some members think that the project's design should be fine-tuned so as to support more sports items within the complex. Some members have suggested that the project should be broken down into smaller ones, and they will be tendered separately so that we can more effectively control project costs. The panel also had a discussion on the hotel and guest house accommodation ordinance and the related licensing and regulatory matters. Some members of the view that in the licensing application assessment, there is no regard paid to the deed of mutual covenant of the relevant building, and that means that we have a loophole. Members have asked the government to review the ordinance and the licensing system. The government has indicated that a review has started on the ordinance. Chairman, apart from the above-mentioned matters, the panel also looked into youth development policies, regulation of property management sector, and also to how to prevent and regulate short fund extensions. Lastly, I thank members for their support to the work of the panel. Thank you.
The Honourable Ip Kwok-him will address the Council on the report of the panel on security 2013-2014. Honourable Ip Kwok-him, Mr. President, in my capacity as chairman of the security panel, I submit the work of the panel in this year to the Council. In this session, the security panel held a total of 12 meetings. In July, we are going to have another regular meeting. Since the work of the security panel is already recorded in the report in detail, I will now just give the gist of our work in the last year. In this session, the police's handling of public order events and maintenance of law and order continued to be the main focus of the panel during the current session. Members were seriously concerned that there had been increasing confrontation and swearing between members of the public and the police during some public meetings and public processions, noting that the police had issued a set of guidelines to advise police officers on how to handle abusive behavior directed at them by members of the public, and the use of body-worn video camera to record protest activities. The panel examined the relevant criteria. Some members felt that the guidelines should be made public to increase transparency of law enforcement and prevent abuse of power by the police. The administration advised that although it was not appropriate to make public the internal operational guidelines, the police's webpage already contained the relevant information. Some other members were of the view that abusive behavior against police officers was no different from contempt of the rule of law and should not be tolerated. These members urged the administration to actively consider enacting legislation against insulting police officers. I'd like to ask for a quorum call. President, I hope you members would not make a sudden noise which is so big because I was frightened.
葉國謙議員。
The Honourable Ip Kwok-him. President, the panel also continued to monitor closely the administration's anti-drug work. The panel noted with concern that although the number of drug abusers had been decreasing, there was a growing problem of hidden drug abuse. Following the launch of a public consultation exercise on Rescue Drug Testing Scheme (RTT) by Action Committee Against Narcotics, the panel met with the chairman of ACAN and chairman of 2 committees of ACAN to exchange views on the proposed RDT. Some members supported the proposed RDT as it would provide an entry point of intervention and thus appropriate help. Some other members, however, objected to the monetary approach of RDT. Since the issue is controversial, ACAN expressed that it would consider views collected during the first stage public consultation exercise. If there was a consensus that RDT should be pursued in principle, details for the mechanism would be worked out for a second stage public consultation exercise. The administration would provide the panel with an update on RDT at its meeting to be held in July. Immigration issues. The administration reported to the panel on the latest position regarding the issue of one-way permits for mainland residents to come to Hong Kong for family reunion and exit entry permits, commonly known as two-way permits, with endorsements for visiting relatives in Hong Kong. The panel was also briefed on the immigration clearance arrangements for holders of the new card-type electronic exit entry permit. Members urged the administration to carry out an analysis of the profile of one-way permit holders to facilitate manpower planning and to project the demand for various support services. President, following the Manila hostage-taking incident that occurred in August 2010, the panel held focused discussion and follow-up action on the incident. Members were pleased to note that a consensus was reached on the resolution of the 4 demands made by the victims and their families on apology, compensation, sanction against responsible officials and individuals, and tourist safety. Noting the revision of the outbound travel alert (OTA) for the Philippines from black to amber, immediately after the announcement of the resolution of the incident, some members expressed concern that the administration did not observe the implementation of the improvement measures for some period of time before revising the OTA level for the Philippines to amber to ensure safety of travelers. The administration promised to monitor the implementation of the various improvement measures. Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to also thank the Secretariat for their work in the year.
Mr. Tam Yiu-chung will address the Council on the report of the Panel on Constitutional Affairs 2013-14. The Honourable Tam Yiu-chung. President, I call for quorum.
譚耀宗議員。
Mr. Tam Yiu-chung, there have been 3 calls for quorum in the past half hour. 30 minutes have been wasted. I don't know where the pan-democrats have gone. President, as chairman of the panel on constitutional affairs, I now report to the Council the main areas of work of the panel in this legislative year. The administration published the consultation document on methods for selecting CE in 2017 and for forming electrical in 2016 on the 4th of December last year. The panel held 3 special meetings to discuss the consultation document with the task force and to receive views from the public. Members had expressed views and concerns on the nominating procedures of the CE candidates and the constitution of the nominating committee. The task force stressed that the consultation on the method for selecting CE by universal suffrage had to be conducted strictly in accordance with the basic law and the relevant interpretation and decisions of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress. The panel requested the task force to listen to the views from different sectors of the community. The task force advised that upon the end of the 5-month consultation period on the 3rd of May 2014, the administration would consolidate the public views received and initiate the constitutional procedures at an appropriate juncture. In the current session, the administration proposed to extend the claims and objections period for voter registration by 14 calendar days to allow more time for the public to inspect the provisional register and also the objection list and make claims and objections. The administration also proposed to make the offences on voter registration false declarations under Cap 541A and Cap 541 to become indictable offences. This would lift the 6-month period bar for prosecution so as to enhance the deterrent effect. The administration had included these proposals in the Electoral Legislation Miscellaneous Amendments Bill 2014 after consulting the panel. On anti-discrimination work, the panel invited Dr. Yok Chow, chairperson of UOC, to give it an update of the work of the Commission. Members noted the UOC had completed an internal review of the existing 4 anti-discrimination laws, and its tentative plan was to consult the public on relevant issues in the 3rd quarter of 2014. UOC will also commission an exploratory study on age discrimination and employment, which was expected to be completed within 14 months. On discrimination on the ground of sexual orientation, UOC would be organizing an international symposium with other organizations in late August 2014 to enhance public understanding of the subject. The panel also received a briefing by the administration on its progress of work to promote non-discrimination on grounds of sexual orientation and gender identity. Members noted the measures adopted included increasing the provision for the Equal Opportunity Sexual Orientation Funding Scheme to promote the Code of Practice Against Discrimination and Employment on the ground of sexual orientation, establishing a dedicated advisory group in June 2013. On the advice of the advisory group, the administration had commissioned a consultant to to conduct a study about the discrimination experienced by sexual minorities in Hong Kong, and the findings will form a basis for further consideration by the advisory group on how to take forward its work. The panel has always closely monitored the submission of human rights reports by the administration to the UN. The panel held a meeting to discuss the third report under the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights with deputations, and also to discuss the relevant concluding observations. Members expressed concern about issues related to people's livelihood, employment protection, and labor rights. In October last year, the UN Committee on the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child considered the second report from the SAR and also adopted the concluding observations. The panel discussed the concluding observations with deputations and the administration. Some members considered that the administration should establish a commission on children to address the needs of vulnerable children and provide a platform to monitor the implementation. Mr. Gary Fan, Chairman, I call for a quorum. You are wasting the Council's time.
鬧多啲啊！
You may scold us more. Members, please do not speak when you are in your seat.
譚耀宗議員，請你繼續發言。
Mr. Tam Yiu-chung, please continue your speech. To monitor the work of to monitor the implementation of the Convention, Hong Kong administration had set up a children's rights forum to promote child-friendly measures. The administration explained that a family-based approach was adopted to provide appropriate services to children and families in need. The administration pledged to strengthen the collaboration between the Family Council and Children's Rights Forum with view to enhance the promotion of child's rights. Thank you.
Questions. The first question, Dr. Vincent Fang.
主席，香港醫務委員
Mr. President, the Medical Council of Hong Kong, or MCHK,